Last week, I spent some time with the creative assembly team behind Total War 3 Kingdoms. I'm Jason, lead writer for MMOHuts.com, and this is my interview with Pavel Wass, project art director for Total War 3 Kingdoms. One of the biggest things I wanted to talk about was the comparison between Total War 3 Kingdoms and, of course, the Koei RTK series, because that's the big fish in the pond, as it were. Did you guys draw any inspiration from the Three Kingdoms series or games, or were you more focused on the books, TV series?
Yeah, we basically we approached this game like any other historical Total War, right? So in the first instance, it's the history, it's the records, right? So we looked at the records of the Three Kingdoms, working together with Rafe de Crespigny, who is the foremost Western expert in the period of Han China and the whole period around the Three Kingdoms. So he's written all the books, like 80 volumes of epic knowledge, and we literally had him on tap. You know, how about this? How about that?
Awesome.
He'd suggest, there'd be something in the book that maybe wasn't so clear. We'd say, okay, this isn't in your book. Would this be plausible if we did this like that? He's like, okay, yeah, that makes complete sense. Do it, or no, it doesn't.
No, that
this is how you should do it.
Don't do that.
Yeah, so it's fantastic. So that's the first instance. Then obviously the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the book, the novel. In many iterations, be it the Three Kingdoms podcast, which was fantastic for us to kind of listen to, the book itself, and then obviously Redcliffe, the TV shows,
The 2015 TV series.
Yeah, the 2015 and the 2000 and
was it like
2003 or 90,
something like
that? And the
that?
90s, I think
there was one in the 90s also, yeah.
All of those, right?
I've seen all three of them, so
and
I'm with you.
In terms of the Koei games, with the Dynasty Warriors and also their strategy games, we've all played them. So we all had a background knowledge, just passive knowledge from playing them ourselves. But the one thing that we did look at is when we designed the characters, right? We wanted our characters to be of our own, right? We wanted them to be our own authentic designs. Again, in the first instance, we looked at the romance references and descriptions, the records references and descriptions, but one of our objectives was we wanted any fan of the Koei games, any fan of Dynasty Warriors, to be able to look at our characters and recognize them.
Okay, yeah, that's how, got it.
Exactly, so that was the one thing we kind of said, will he be recognizable?
On that topic, I'm going to skip ahead a little. Are you guys going to be avoiding any of the really popular tropes for the characters, like Zuchu just being fat and stupid and gullible?
It depends, yeah. I mean, with some of the tropes you can't avoid, right? Zhang Fei is an alcoholic. That's his trait.
Lu Bu is a giant towering monster.
Exactly. So some of these, yes. I mean, we try and look at what we have in the romance as reference for these characters, because that's the great thing about this, and it's so unique for us as Total War games go, where yes, we've got the records of the Three Kingdoms, the historical texts that we normally use as our primary reference, which gives us the big picture of the period. But then on top of that, we've got this amazing narrative of the Three Kingdoms novel, which is such a personal kind of account of the relationships, the characters. So we feed all those traits into the characters, which is why the characters, unlike previous Total War games, they don't develop their traits based on what they do. You can't have Cao Cao sitting in a settlement for 20 turns and then he gets a lazy trait. No, because it's Cao Cao. He would never be lazy. Exactly. And taking on that kind of philosophy, Chinese philosophy, that everybody's fate is predetermined. You are born into your path. You can't change it. It's predetermined. You discover your character traits as they develop. You uncover who they are, rather than telling them who they are, what they are, and you discover that as you play with them.
Sort of on that topic, any particular officers you plan on highlighting as key players in the game, outside of the 11 warlords you picked?
Other than the playable characters, yeah. Well, we're not talking about all of them just yet. But I think you can expect that they'll all be in there, because you can't do a game about Three Kingdoms without the key players. But yeah, I mean, we've mentioned a lot of the characters already, such as obviously Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Lu Bu. There's a lot of these characters that obviously they're going to play a big part. They have to. You can't tell the story without including those characters.
I want to circle back real quick, because we were talking about skills. how are you planning? Speaking of which, choosing officer skills, officer bonuses. How is that How's that going to play?
So all the characters still have a skill tree. That you can, the skill trees will be kind of weighted towards their kind of archetype, right? So if a commander will have his skills weighted towards, commanding, and the vanguard will be more combat based skills. Other characters will be more kind of dual focused. But you have the skill trees that you can choose to develop as your characters level up and progress. So even though their personalities are predetermined, you can kind of determine how you want to skill them up. And obviously there's also items, right? We have the items that you can, armors, weapons, mounts, that all give you bonuses, and these are obviously lootable between characters,
the
right?
The expected important items.
Yeah.
Sort of fade.
Yeah. So
red hair.
Yeah, exactly. And other things like, for example, you could carry out formations in a battle even though you didn't have a strategist, but that's because Sun Quan has an item. Sun Tzu's teachings, handed down through his generations.
Now I can do it. Yeah.
So you'll have lots of these items throughout the game that can be found and looted and used. So yeah, making it quite a unique experience.
On the note of tactics, there's a lot of really cool tactics and ploys that take place in the era, like the empty fort strategy against Lu Bu from Cao, as an example. Are there any of these that fans of the era can look forward to seeing in game, whether it's in cutscenes or actual battles? Like anything you could spoil for us?
Nothing
you could spoil.
Nothing I can spoil, but there are
nothing outside of this footage.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, like with the this is an ambush, right? So this is kind of ambush tactics. Ambushes were predominant. They happened all the time, right? So that's something that occurs. And one thing that we've done, which is why we wanted to do this kind of extraction mechanic, is something that occurred so much throughout the book. Is you get ambushed, and your troops, or even your generals that are with the commander, they kind of go in and kind of try and hold back the forces whilst you escape.
Everyone else can run,
so they make a run for it, and that's one.
So
thing
every battle Liu Bei was in, got it.
So you could literally, you still lose, right? You will still lose, but you guarantee the survival of those. Yeah, exactly, of those characters. In the previous game, if you don't survive an ambush, you will lose all those units. And ambushes that's it. You've lost everything. Whereas here you can extract and save, which is pretty good.
In the Koei games, they always build it around a scenario.
Yeah.
You start at a scenario, and you move towards unification. Are you guys going to be doing something similar, or is it just you will always start here? I'm gesturing, but you guys can't see, but I'm totally doing it. Here at the beginning of or towards the end of the Dongzhou Coalition, or how is that going to work?
So you will obviously, it's a sandbox, as we said, right? So, but you will have events and you'll have missions that kind of steer you towards a goal, right? And in Romance also you will have the romanticized events that will occur that you'll recognize from the story, and you can then choose to follow that path. So you will, if you're familiar with Romance of the Three Kingdoms, you will recognize these events. You'll know, oh, I know what this is. It's great.
I know what's going on.
I know what's going on, and you could be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that because I know where it leads. Or you could be like, why the hell would I want to visit this hut 3 times? No, screw that. I'm just going to do my own thing, right? So
the hell with the sleeping dragon, even taking a nap.
So you can choose to make your own
just
path.
not go recruit them.
Or you could, but there will definitely be things kind of pushing and you in a certain direction.
Okay.
But it's up to you whether you want to follow that or not.
Now, this is more of a personal question. Do you have a particular favorite scene or scenario from, say, the book or the game?
Oh, which?
I've got a bunch.
I do. I've got a bunch. I mean, from the book, so many. I mean, the whole. It's not really a specific scenario. It's the journey. It's kind of really enjoyed the Liu Bei's kind of journey to seek out the the sleeping dragon and the fledgling phoenix. And then obviously the kind of the wonderful kind of the conflict, the early conflict with Cao and accumulating Red Cliff. I just love all of that. But particularly, I don't know. I love Guan Yu. and the returning of Guan Yu as a ghost to kind of help out, and I think like he just refused to die and just kind of came back and and did some stuff. It's great.
For me, Suma Yi is probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
My boss is rolling her eyes as we speak because I told her I would worm that into the piece somehow. And I love him as a character, and I thought it was really great at Wuzhong Plains, where Kong Ming tricks him into thinking he's come back from the dead.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's just pulling his hair out and stomping on his head.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Got fooled by a dead man.
Yeah.
How smart are you?
Yeah. That was amazing.
Does the development team have a particular kingdom bias?
No. We are split. I think Cao Cao is a big favorite. So obviously, but there's I think most of us either Wei or Wu, I think.
Ugh. Disgusting.
But then Shu as well. I mean, it's split. We have everyone is in their various camps.
Okay.
I think most of us admire Cao Cao as a character. Not so much as this. He's portrayed as this villain, but really he's the true kind of neutral. Dishes out reward and punishment in equal measures. Very kind of honourable as well. I think so that's probably my allegiance.
Do the three kingdoms, and to a lesser extent the other factions, Lu Bu, Ma Teng, etc., have their own specific victory conditions, or is it just unite China?
No, there will be as always with our games, there will be some specific kind of regions and various kind of conditions. But ultimately, ultimately is to unite China. Get the mandate of heaven and bring order to the chaos that is
Han era China.
Yeah, the collapsed.
Here's where I go fishing.
Okay.
Will the Barbarian Tribes, like the Shan Yu, the Nan Yu, etc., be making an appearance? And if so, how will they affect gameplay?
I have to wait and see, I'm afraid.
Damn! Worth the shot.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
And we talked about this off the recording. Is there a particular start and stop year you guys have in mind for Three Kingdoms? Like the beginning we discussed, what was it, like 192?
It's 190. 190. Yeah. It's basically, the coalition has just collapsed. Dongzhou has moved his capital, and you basically have to pick up the pieces. Even though the coalition's collapsed, some of the alliances still remain, of course, but you have to kind of start from there when everyone's segmented into their warring.
Is there a stop date where it cuts off, or will it keep going until?
It'll keep going until, I don't think we're talking about the stop date just yet. But
okay. Yeah. Like 1800, they still haven't settled.
Who knows? But I don't know have you got spies in your questions? Because you haven't.
I was gonna bring that up. We were talking about it out there. It's like I didn't have that here.
Okay.
But I did want, when I was talking about politics, that was something I was sort of thinking about. It's like, how are spies going to work? Because spies are a big deal in this era.
They are a big deal, and which is why we really wanted to. Well, one thing we wanted to kind of do away with agents, because the way that agents kind of work doesn't really fit what we're trying to do, because we're all about so character centric. We don't have these disconnected pawns that do their thing. It's all about the characters. It's all one China. Characters move around. You've got this kind of concept of imperial recommendation, where men of talent were recommended to the capital and then sent on to various posts. So these characters move around. They're held by loyalties and relationships, but they essentially move around. If a character leaves a faction, he'll most likely join another. Right? It's not separate nations. It's just different factions. So you may have a character that's got a particular disposition where he's willing to spy, right? It'll be linked to various personalities. Maybe a very honourable character wouldn't have that disposition to do this, but some might. And you can actually take that character and send them off into the world, right? To everybody else, he's either left you because he's pissed off, or he's left you because, or you've kind of thrown him out, and he'll be hired by another faction, and he could be hired into he could be a general, he could be a governor, he could be a court noble, right? The post that he's placed in determines the actions, the types of actions he can
Okay.
perform, right? The longer that spy spends in the position, the larger on-the-ground network he's going to develop, which will unlock stronger and stronger actions over time. He's also building up cover, right? The cover is what he needs to make sure that his actions stay undiscovered, right?
Right.
Because these are able men, these are talented guys. Their actions will always succeed. The question is whether they get caught or not.
Right.
So if
I assume there'd be some sort of chance of them being caught.
yeah, well, it's all about that cover, right? So if he's got enough cover, he'll get away. He'll get away fine. He could probably use his spy network to kind of, if he gets this cover, to quickly escape. That's possible. But also, you know, the factions can have security countermeasures, building chains that will increase the cost of cover that you might not strictly see because you know it's kind of you take a risk every time you want to perform this action, right? But if your character's a governor, potentially you can do a hostile action, take the province over, right? If your character is in a faction for a long time, maybe he's building up loyalty with the faction leader. Maybe the faction leader's heirs are useless. He sees this man of talent and makes him his faction heir.
And then he just pulls their...
Yeah.
I like it.
Triggers a civil war, or even better, the faction leader dies. He takes over the faction
and
as
he just
the head.
hands over the keys.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. There'll always be a civil war because the loyalties, you know, will be different. But it's really epic. Imagine this in a multiplayer scenario when you're playing with your friend.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
So it's.
Really... I mean, I would never do that to my friends in game.
Imagine your friend wins the game and you're like, well, actually, that was my spy.
No. you thought you won, but. Will it have you guys discussed creating custom characters and inserting them in as generals?
We've spoken about it, but it's not
nothing decisive.
Yeah.
And the big one, because everyone's going to want to know, I'm sure. Have you guys discussed DLC yet?
We always think about it, you know.
Like adding a scenario or like a faction or.
There are obviously, you know, discussions, but nothing we're talking about.
Nothing I can steal yet. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
No worries.